Hey, hey, hey. In the words of the late, great, and out of state CB,
Out of state.
welcome to the Love Movement Podcast on Intellectual Radio. I am your host, Toya Capri, and Lady Z, the goddess.
Hottest goddess.
Hottest goddess.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. I'm just
sorry.
playing.
Excuse me. Let me reintroduce myself. So first, we want to thank our sponsors for this week, 717, as well as the Blue Note. Thank you so much for your sponsorship. And remember that to our audience, we always have sponsorship availability out there. So we'll provide you with additional information on our Instagram and Facebook pages that will provide you the details in case you are interested in sponsoring the Love Movement. So again, let's get right into it. How was your weekend, Miss Lady Z?
Oh my gosh, it was tiresome to be honest. But it was a good weekend. I can't complain. This weekend was a Maywood Fest. I worked as a vendor. Shout out to Goddess Accessories. That's me.
Ooh.
But I was there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We had some unexpected weather. Um, Friday, it was freezing outside. The fest didn't start till later in the day, so things kind of turned around. I would say the next day, Saturday, the weather picked up a little bit. Still was a little windy, but overall, the turnout did become better because in the beginning, folks were complaining about how cold it was, and I think the first day, which was Friday, we didn't have any rides, so. Folks were complaining about not having any activities for the kids. But again, we turned it around Saturday. The rides came, people brought their families out. We had great performances. Kiki Wyatt, Kevin Ross, was it Marzette Griffith, and Danny Boy. So they did an awesome job.
Awesome.
Closing it out was Sunday. That was with Kiki Wyatt. Everything was really, really good. I believe all the vendors did very well, hopefully. Um, but it was a lot of work. I had to pack up so much stuff. I didn't realize how much stuff I'd be having. I mean, I sell accessories, so purses, jewelry, hats, patches. I had all kind of stuff out there. So I pretty much brought the store to the park that
That's what's
day.
up.
But I had some help. I had my
Yay.
aunt helping me out. I really appreciate her. My boo thing
Ooh.
came out and helped me shut things down, which is not something guys typically do when it comes to that type of thing. I really appreciate him for coming out and helping me out because it was much needed. I had to break down my tent and all my bins and all that stuff, but that was my weekend.
But look, you're here, so you
I know.
survived, which is a
Yeah.
good
I'm still
thing.
recouping though. I am really tired.
Sound like Lady Z need a nap, huh?
I swear I can't wait. That's why I ain't doing nothing this weekend. I'll get some rest.
So as far as my weekend, I ended up actually going to Detroit for the weekend, which was
I
fun.
forgot. Yeah. You've
Yeah.
been taking flight every
Listen,
weekend.
it's my time. I didn't go anywhere the first half of the year, so I'm just
Good.
jumping right into it. I got a trip to Cabo scheduled for October. Looking forward to that for a week.
See, another month. She's taking flight.
Got to. That's what life is about. And Musty Man doing his traveling thing too. I had
Yes.
to join the movement. So
Always.
so yeah, I ended up going to Detroit. We got into a lot of activities down there. I mean, they have their downtown area has really been reestablished. I can't say the same for like their inner cities. That was the thing that was disheartening. I didn't actually go visit, but the last time I was there, I did. With them losing GM,
Yeah.
unfortunately, the economic, that had a tremendous amount of economic impact. So I'm hoping that they get to the point where the neighborhoods, inner city neighborhoods, are revitalized. But their downtown area, it was great. Friday we went to the casino actually,
Okay.
and
Did we
then
win some money?
no, I don't gamble enough to win money.
No,
So
sometimes those be the lucky folks, the ones that don't really gamble. You done put 50 cents in there and won 10,000. So I was hoping that was the case for
that
you.
was not my story. I so
Okay.
wish it was, but it wasn't. And then Saturday we went to a really nice black owned restaurant called Joe Louis.
Okay.
Joe Lewis's, and really nice setup, brunch style, amazing food. I tried a turkey leg with jambalaya, topped with jambalaya. It was
It sounds like
it
a whole
looked
lot of going
it
on.
looked great on the paper,
Okay.
but it was even better in person as far as actually eating it. So good time overall there. We ended up watching a Bears game that Sunday at one of their local bars, which was really nice as well. So unfortunately our Bears couldn't pull it through, but
Yeah.
we still had an amazing time in spite of that. So yeah, so let's get into it.
Ooh, let's talk about
So
it.
the hot topic of the day is relationships.
Drum
So
roll, please. No, that's good.
so it's so much under that umbrella with relationships, but I think one of the things that I wanted to start with is the question on gender roles. How do we feel? How do you feel about the traditional gender roles, meaning the roles that our parents and grandparents had, where the wife stayed home and, helped rear the children and took care of the household, and then the gentleman went out and made the money and so on and so forth. What are your thoughts?
Obviously things have changed tremendously. But how can I say this? Well,
Just
back
say it.
then, the guy, I mean, not saying that this has changed. Men were considered the breadwinners back then.
Yes.
Nowadays, the women are out here and we are out here grinding. Okay, so it's two breadwinners in the house.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think there's like a lack of respect in the household because of that reason. I'm thinking that's how it is.
Well, I see it from a couple of different aspects. I think the reality of women thriving more, making more money is a true reality. But I think in the right circumstance, meaning both parties understanding what that means for their household and also existing with each other from the level of respect and security, from the perspective of just because the woman makes more money doesn't mean that the man is less than. And then the woman has to do her part in making sure that, she ensures that, that level of respect is there still.
Absolutely.
Oftentimes we hear stories about women because they're making more money and they're the
A lot of
breadwinner.
times I hear it a lot.
That, that masculine energy that, we talk about is present. But I literally have seen it both ways. Honestly, I've seen it where, both being the breadwinner or both individuals contributing financially works well. They have an understanding. Together, they make a great team. They're building generational wealth for their families. And I've seen it work well. Looks like we got our first call.
Oh
Don't
my
forget
God,
to
who's
call
calling?
in.
And we haven't even raised the question yet. Jesus Christ.
Welcome to the Love Movement, the Love Line, I should say. Who's our caller?
Ladies,
Oh,
y'all
God.
look good behind their mics. I love it. It's a great thing, and I know y'all gonna do well. I got bad reception down here. I'm down here celebrating my friend's Keoki Allen's 50th birthday, and we're gonna do some things. They got friends from all over the country that's coming in, and we're gonna have some fun. I'm at the pool side right now at the bar trying to get me a cocktail.
Of
I ain't
course
had a
you
cocktail
are.
all day. That's a shame. I ain't had one all day. But I know you guys are going to do great. It's just I can't see it right now. I'll be able to look at it later. But God bless you. Go ahead and do your thing.
Okay.
Have fun and enjoy the ride. All right?
All
All
righty.
right, then.
The
All
hottest
right.
goddess in Toya Capri. Do your
Okay,
thing.
Musty Man.
All right, Musty Man.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take
Talk
care.
to you later.
All right.
Speaking of which, if you all would like to call in, please give us a call at 708-223-8953. Again, the number is 708-223-8953. We'd love to hear from you guys with regards to all of the questions that we'll be working through as it relates to relationships. So back to what we were talking about before the Musty Man so rudely interrupted us.
On his vacation. Man, go have some fun.
Well, again, I've seen it both ways. I just think that people, both people have to be committed to whatever order of business they have established for their household. And to me, traditional, the traditional landscape that was there in the past years ago with our parents and our grandparents may not work in today's society, but I feel like it's up to the couple to figure out what works for them. I'm not
Absolutely.
married one way or another to the traditional, what's seen as the traditional way of doing things. So
I agree.
yeah.
And I think something, I mean, a lot of things are still, I believe, still traditional. I think, I don't know if I'm speaking for all women, but I do feel like we still look as men as providers and protectors. So I'm hoping
Yes.
that has remained the same and nothing has changed on that end.
Yes. Again, but I just hate the box that sometimes society has a way of putting couples or people into, like things have to be pegged into a certain category. I just feel like whatever works.
Absolutely.
But I do agree with the protecting
Yeah.
and providing. That's part of what I envision working for me in my household. So
And you got some at home husbands out here,
this is true. I know a
and they do
couple.
very well.
This is true. Again, you have to decide what makes sense for your household. So nice segue. Since we're going live on Facebook, why don't we talk about social media and the impact of social media on relationships? What are your thoughts with regards to that?
I believe social media has its positive benefits, but it has potential to wreak havoc. A lot of people just look at social media as their way of communicating. Instead of communicating with each other when they feel some type of way, they going online and they about to tell everybody how they feel
Everything.
about the situation.
Yes.
And obviously, that's not the right thing to do. You want to talk to the person that you're supposed to be talking to and not the world. But yeah, it could get ugly. That I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I've seen it both ways too, where I've seen, people that are in love wanting to share, parts of their lives
And
with
that's true.
social media. That's a great thing.
And it's hard sometimes because when you're happy and you want everybody to know, like, I am
Yes,
happy.
I'm very
It's hard.
private.
It's hard to I think I'm private to a certain extent.
Mhm.
And I do want people to know that just because I post on Facebook don't mean that's everything about my life.
Yes.
Like, trust me, there's a lot that you do not know behind closed doors. I'm not gonna air everything out. But I am a victim of I'm gonna say a victim of posting on social media too much.
Mhm.
I've learned my lesson in the past, and I'm still learning as I get older. But yeah, it could become a problem, and it has been a problem for me. I can speak personally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, again, each person governs their own life, their own relationships. As I stated, I'm a very private person. So you won't see much of anything relating to my real personal life. Like you said, there's so much that happens outside of social media that I don't choose to share, um, and that's just my own
and
personal
another thing is
preference.
people tend to compare their relationships to other people's relationships,
Yes,
or comparing what your guy or woman does for you with somebody else.
and
You know,
that's kind of the hard part because people can put on a show very well, right? So
a
it's
facade. Yeah,
and so it's like you're trying to measure yourself up against people that may be really struggling behind closed doors,
yeah.
and they're projecting to the world something different. So again, I say it's again the code of ethics for your relationship is what people should use, and if you want to share your personal life on social media, go for it. I don't have a dog in the fight when it comes to someone else's lives and their decisions, but for me personally, I just choose not to. But I agree with you wholeheartedly where it's not always what it appears to be. And it's like, who are we trying to impress when it's all said and done? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So yeah, but if you all want to call in, we would love to hear from you all. Again, the number is 708-223-8953. 708-223-8953. So what do you think are some positive things? I know we've talked about kind of a combination of, what can happen with relationships, but as relationships have evolved over the years, what do you believe what do you think are some positive things as far as things, that have changed from back when our parents were in relationships, now that, to today's state, I should say.
How has dating changed?
Yes.
I think I would say it's cheaper a little bit. Only reason I say this is because they got dating apps out here where you can get to know somebody over the phone to the point where you don't necessarily have to go on a date per se, because I mean, and really that's how you are supposed to get to know somebody, by talking to them. But now they're getting away from actually going
dating
on a date.
Yeah.
And to now meeting people through your
virtually
phone.
Yeah,
Exactly. Which can be scary. So please beware. Don't just meet anybody.
right.
But yeah, that's one thing that has changed with relationships, I think.
I look at that positively though, because I think it opens up your orbit. It opens up your selection pool. If you can meet somebody virtually, I know a couple personally that were living in 2 different states. They met virtually through Match, I think it was. They hit it off. They did the premarital counseling. They ended up getting engaged. They did premarital counseling, and they're married today for now 15 years.
Yeah, I have known a few folks that have been married for quite some time.
Yeah.
So yes, your soulmate does not always have to be in the same state.
This is true. This is absolutely true. I think one of the other things that's changed, I think the way that people have evolved, specifically economically, Black folks have evolved. I think that having the ability to have 2 individuals in the household that can contribute financially only builds a stronger network for your resources, your ability to manage your expenses and so on. So I think the fact that, now we have evolved, we have more resources, we have the ability to, we've gotten more educated over the years and all of those things. So I think that has helped tremendously from the aspect of managing the household, the resources, building generational wealth, and all of those things. And I think, taking a burden off of one person versus the other, where everybody, is responsible for contributing is a great thing.
Yes.
It's a great thing.
Oh, it's definitely helpful.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I feel like it's hard to survive out here by yourself.
It is. It is.
I know it's possible, but you're gonna be struggling. Trust me.
It's a little bit.
Definitely, it helps out a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, no one cares who's making the most money. At least I don't.
I don't either. I don't.
Be a hardworking person.
Yes. And can we meet what the expectations are for our household together? However that looks, and get it. We have, in getting it done, not just, from the perspective of, I think people just care about the wrong things sometimes.
Yeah.
So
that is true.
Yeah. Well, what about what do you think is the biggest hurdle for relationships nowadays?
I shouldn't say respect.
Respect.
Yeah, I just feel like there's a lack of respect between 2 people. Sometimes honesty. People are not coming in the gate being honest with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Anger control. People need to know how to talk to people. Sometimes we can become disrespectful because of the tone, and it may not be intentional, but
yeah, I feel like everybody, especially during the period of COVID, I think people were so on edge. Life changed for all of us drastically, and it happened all at the same time. More couples were spending more time together than they ever had been. So, for some folks, their escape was being able to get away from one another for a couple hours.
You're stuck.
All right.
Okay, we got another
caller. We got a caller.
In.
Come on through. Hey there. Welcome to the Love Line.
Hi.
Hey.
This is Angel.
Hey, Angel.
Hey, Lady Z. So
Okay.
I'm listening to you guys. This is Angel Robinson. This is Stephen Robinson's wife.
Okay.
Hey, Angel, how you doing?
So I'm listening to you guys, and I live. Now I know this is gonna sound crazy. We don't look like the traditional married couple because we be in the streets. And we
Okay.
have fun,
Okay.
and our social media life is fun, and
Okay.
people see that and they just assume that they want our life.
Okay.
Yes.
They don't know that I get up, because I don't work, so
Okay.
I'm like a traditional grandmother, mother from
Okay.
back in my time. You know, my husband take care of the house and everything. They don't know that I get up at 5 a.m., make his lunch, make my kids lunch,
Yes.
start dinner, run to like 4 different properties, clean up, come back, take whatever in the oven out of the oven, make sure all the bills paid, budget, like do our finance budgeting. I'm studying for my master's program.
Woo-hoo.
So social media has made it whereas people are in competition with
Yes.
you and they don't even know what's going on. They don't even know what's going on. You don't even know what's going on in my house.
Right.
Right.
But you're in competition with what's going on. And I'm a traditional grandmother, mother, like big mama. If my son, because he's the oldest one, my daughter's 6, even though she acts like she's about 36.
Yes.
My son, he's about to be 19. He's graduated high school. He's about to go to the military. If he decide to have children, I'm that grandmother. Like I would be that grandmother. Granted, I don't want to stay in the house and bake cookies like my grandma did, but I will. You know what I'm saying? I will because traditionally that's all I know how to do is be a wife.
Right.
But people see me and they see my husband and their assumption is what we do on social media. They think he's the clown and he's so funny and he's Mr. Funny Man. And in public, he's funny man. They don't know when he get in the house, we having deep like this. We could have a podcast because we're having deep conversations about other people, how they perceive us and how we laugh about it because we're not keeping up with them. We have our own kind of like lane going, but social media has tarnished so many relationships. And it's only tarnishing because of one party of the relationship has not accepted and onboarded what was introduced in the beginning. I know my husband. He know me. I know when I got it with him, he wasn't no good, but I wasn't.
Don't be
so we talked that thing out. We talked that thing out. We worked that out. Like we met. He's my yin, I'm his yang. So it's like women used to try to come tell me stuff on social media. Like they'll inbox me different stuff, and I'll just be like, okay, well, don't mess it up for us. Like, what? Because that's what my grandmother did. She told the other family, my grandfather had that look, when my grandfather passed away, it was a whole nother family, Now she turns a blind eye.
Now, I was going to say, that's what I do like about you, about what you just mentioned, the fact that you're not entertaining it. You're not supposed to entertain the outside, negativity anyway.
Because see, that's what they want. They want you to fail. And then us people, when I say us people, I'm talking about us. Us people, we also are not taught anymore how to maintain our household. Social media has took that away from us. And then dating, like you said, dating is cheaper. But at the same time,
no, it still costs. I was just talking about
no. But look, here go to kill. Here go to kill for it though. We can't sit across the table for hours and laugh and go home and think about it because now we're stuck with the persona of who you are. When you used to be afraid to talk to people, but now you're not afraid because you're behind a screen.
Right. Who you are, and how much money you spent on a date for me, and all of that.
Yeah, that might not even be you.
So how do you empower other women? Because it sounds like first and foremost, hats off to you with the fact that you manage your household. Mm-hmm. You got an earlier start than I ever would. So I totally appreciate the fact that you it sounds like you holding things down mechanically, operating everything.
And stop saying you don't have no job because you got 10 jobs. You just named 10 things you do.
I am Jamaican. Look, I am almost Jamaican. I do run around with my head cut off.
Right.
You know, so I guess the empowerment would be what we keep lacking in the teaching, and that would be hold your man down. You know, we are taught to be so independent and find out how much he makes. I don't care if he work at McDonald's. Like, what you doing for our house? Like, you know, man, you know, honey, you the best hamburger maker I know. You know, you got to cheer for your man. You have to.
Thanks
you know,
for putting them extra pickles on there, baby.
Him. You know, he got to walk in. You got to be like, ooh, them dirty hands are sexy to me. You know, you have to have that because men need you to need them, whether we want to believe that or not. I'm not opening no mayonnaise. I don't open mayonnaise. My nails won't allow it. My nails too long.
It won't allow you to.
That ain't my job.
Okay. That's what's up. I appreciate that, Angel. That's real talk.
So if you
that's all I have to add to that. At the moment, look, at the moment, if I think of some more stuff,
you gonna call back?
Yes. If I think of some more stuff, I'm gonna call back. But that's my piece and that's my empowerment to women. You have to be a cheerleader for your man. You have to need him. You can't be a man. You are a woman. You're a woman.
Yes.
You can't do it. So that's a universal message. Stop being the man of your house and let a man come be a man of your house. Because then he'll come over there. Because if you don't need your man, I do. I need you.
I know that's right.
Thanks for calling.
All right, ladies.
Thanks for calling, Angela. We totally appreciate you calling. Thank you so much.
Have a good one, babe.
That's a very good point that she made, though. I think that this is always a touchy subject because women are more empowered and they are working and oftentimes, you know, running their own households absent of a man. So you get into the rhythm of fight or flight and you're operating in more masculine energy, I would say. How do you then position yourself when somebody easy on the eyes comes along and you have interest in to relinquish some of that masculinity? It's hard for a number of women. I can say for myself personally, I don't like to categorize it as masculine energy per se, but I've been in leadership roles in most aspects of my life for my most of my adult life. I'll say that. So when it comes to, you know, wanting to relinquish some of that, you know, what you normally would do for yourself, it's not a I don't want to do a thing. It's a you're just so accustomed to doing it yourself thing, and you don't know how to relinquish some of that power. So I think that part of it hits a number of women when you talk about trying to, you know, operate more in that feminine energy and allow the man to be the man.
Yeah, and it should go hand in hand too. I know she mentioned she holds down her husband, but at the same time, the husband has to hold down the wife as well as being in a relationship, whether it's female and man. I'm sorry, my mic is off.
It's closer to it.
I'm sorry. But yeah, I think it goes hand in hand. Both have to hold each other down. I do feel like the man controls the narrative. And if he's being the protector, the provider, he's being respectful. He's telling her she's beautiful all the time, you know, to the point where I know you said you not that you get distracted on a good looking man, but sometimes when a man is holding it down for you, nothing else will interest you. I've been in a situation like that before where attractive people have come on to me, but if I'm into the person that I'm with, I don't see nothing but that person. Like I see tunnel vision when I'm in a relationship, and if I'm completely loyal to that person, I'm with that person. Period.
Yes.
Like no one could deter me from that.
Yeah, I think that the point that I was making with that was when you do have that person of interest that does come in your life, and you guys attempt to come together and have a relationship where the man is leading the charge. For women that are not positioned where they are accustomed to that structure and they're accustomed to being, you know, in leadership and in those independent situations where they've had to fend for themselves, how does that transition look? I know for myself personally, I'll speak. um, you have to have a man that's patient and understands that. And
Yes.
you as
Patience.
a
That
woman,
word.
you have to be positioned to humble yourself and say, listen, I'm not comfortable in this space. I want to be comfortable. I just don't necessarily know how to be comfortable in this space. Can you help me? And if that man is truly down for you, he will be patient. He will, remind you of why he's there. And honestly, please take off some of the load. Please. I
And
beg of
thank
you.
you. Right. Yes. But like you said, he has to lead, not control though. Some people
Yeah,
don't
there's a
know the difference.
difference.
Yeah.
There's a difference. And that's a good point too. Lead, oftentimes some men, I'll say some, I won't say all, men assume that because they're the man that they should automatically lead. I got to know where you leading me. And that's a part of I'm saying that you as a woman, you're responsible for vetting who you're with. And if
Yeah.
you trust that man's leadership, then, great. You guys live happily ever after. But just because you're a man, it doesn't automatically qualify you to lead. You have to be positioned to lead.
Yes.
And what that looks like should resonate with the woman, and she should be comfortable with your leadership. So, and then you have to grow in a relationship too. I think a man, even when he leads, he knows that there are some things that the woman is just going to be better at.
Yeah.
And he knows that, and he's willing to say, hey, babe, why don't you take this? Because I know maybe it's budgeting. You handle the budget better than I
Right.
would, or this is a decision that's really critical, but I feel like I'm not positioned to make this decision. So why don't you, take the lead on this? I just think that, again, it's the code of ethics for your relationship and what works for you all collectively for the greater good of the relationship. But so many people get caught up in the leadership role or the title. And that means for some households that everything from top to bottom is handled by the man. And I don't know if that works for everybody.
No.
No. So what else? What else? What else?
Just communication is
Yes.
the main thing. You should be able to talk it out. Talk about any and everything.
Mm-hmm.
There should not be a situation where you guys can't talk to each other.
Right. That's another good point. Like, what do you think some of the healthy attributes or the attributes that healthy relationships have? And again, if you guys want to call in, please give us a call at 708-223-8953. 708-223-8953. Sorry about that, Z,
Yeah.
but I wanted
No,
to
no.
plug that.
But to answer your question, one of the healthy attributes I would say would be compromising, knowing that it's not always like your way is not always the right way.
Right.
Um, and again, communicating, trusting, respecting, um, individuality.
Yeah. A
You should
space for you
have,
to be you.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you shouldn't have to compromise who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely be you at all times.
Yeah.
Be you.
I think another part of that for me is spirituality. Like, I have to have somebody that understands the importance of God being in the equation and how we have to order ourselves based on that. I think that, you can grow in your faith, you can grow in your spirituality, but I think that the common denominator for me is somebody that definitely is a believer,
Yeah.
and then also wants
Which
to.
should have been first. That should have been the first thing we discussed.
Listen, I got your back. I know what
Yes.
but
Yes.
it's definitely a part of the equation, because I feel like, um, love is tricky because, so many people view love as something fickle, right? And it's like conditional, right? Unconditional love is, I'm gonna love you when I'm mad at you. I'm gonna love you when,
Yes.
you disappointed me. I'm gonna love you like, husbands are supposed to love their wives like Christ loved the church. So, you have to look at love from the aspect of what it really means and not just what feels good. Because love is what's going to get most, or has gotten most couples, at least from what I've, witnessed through more difficult times. Somebody loses their job, somebody gets an ailment, infidelity, all of those things have mended and also kept relationships together over the years. But back to social media. Well, granddaddy and grandma didn't have social media back in the day, but managed to have their own thing going on, with other people. So I think, foundationally, if people are going to do what they're going to do, they'll figure out a way to do what they're going to do. I will say social media is a vehicle, or has been used as a vehicle to have more instantaneous gratification in that area. But yeah, I still feel like people ultimately have the choice of what they're going to do one way or another.
How do you feel about dating now? Has it been easy? Has it been hard?
I think dating is what you make it. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I think that oftentimes people project and not really hold themselves accountable with the selection or the choices that they're making while dating. So what I mean by that is if you're constantly running into the same situation and you're the common denominator, and this is not even
know if you're the common denominator.
You're in the same situations. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You're in the same situations over and over again. So in my mind, you have to just assess, and it might not even be, you may just be attracted to a certain thing, but that certain thing,
you gotta switch it up.
May not just be healthy for you. And I'm just,
what you want may not be what you need.
That's exactly the point. So I'm not saying that people are just out here reckless, just making poor decisions per se. But at some point, if you have a pattern of seeing the same things over and over again, and the only person that's in that equation is you every single time, then it may be just your ability to select correctly. You may be ignoring the red flags, or you may have to heal something within you that is, attracting you to that specific person. They always say that relationships are mirrors. They're supposed to be anyway, of things that you may need to heal within yourself. So I'm not bashing people over the head for, how they're selecting, but you also do have to be conscious. If you're having poor experiences in dating, then you have to take a step back and say, how could I change this narrative? What can I do different to impact how things go going forward? Whether it be, maybe I need to expand my scope on, we all have a type. So maybe it's, that type is not necessarily what you need, but it's what you want. So maybe you have
everybody
to
get a chance to date. I realized just recently, some years ago, I had just started dating because I had never dated before, and I hadn't realized it, that I had become accustomed to being in relationships. So even when you call yourself dating, you find yourself in a relationship,
right?
So I had to learn how to date. There's a lot of people out here that really don't know how to date.
Yeah.
And upon dating, the folks that you are dating per se, they need to know where they stand.
Yes.
They can't get upset if they see you out
and
you on another date. Like, we don't go together. I don't remember you circling yes or no. Yeah, so baby. I'm out here. Okay. And again, dating is not easy. Yeah. I had to learn people.
Yes.
In the process of dating, I learned myself.
Yes.
Because there were a lot of things that I thought I knew about myself, but I guess meeting other people, it brings different things
out of you. Yeah.
So I had to learn that. But eventually, back in a relationship, here I go. But it was fun. I would say that. Because again, I got a chance to meet different people, network, and I got a chance to learn myself and figure out what am I going to do going forward now in a new relationship.
Right.
What are my do's and don'ts, and how am I going to improve this last time around? Because I don't plan on just dipping in and out of relationships. So I'm hoping that this is it. And if not,
can I be the flower girl?
Yes. Absolutely. So yeah, I would recommend everybody to date
Yes.
first
Yes.
before you jumping into relationships and learn how to date. There is a process.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a process. I absolutely agree with that. And the thing that you mentioned that was most pivotal for me is the fact that you said I had to learn myself. Because sometimes, to your point, when you're exposed to different people, then different things come out. Meaning, if you're loved correctly, then you'll see a
Yes.
different version of yourself showing up. Like, you're like, that's me. I did that, because you haven't had that type of connection with people in the past where they're able to tap into that other side of you. So I
Yeah.
think that is, and we're constantly evolving. We're constantly evolving. What you like today may be different tomorrow. And couples grow together in that, and understanding what each other's likes, dislikes are. And it's all pointing back to being able to effectively communicate that and having a common goal for each other. Like, I want to see not just our relationship thrive, but I want to see each of us win. So,
Yes. That's important.
yeah. So
I agree with that.
What else? Any other questions for me? I know
We can go all day talking about relationships and dating.
So why do you think the divorce rate is so high? Why do you think,
We
people
just
aren't
summed it
sticking it
up.
out? People
We
aren't
summed
sticking
it
it
up.
out.
Social media, social media, lack of respect. I'm gonna keep saying that because that is very important.
Yeah.
Amongst relationships, and then just people are quick to give up.
Yeah,
We got another caller.
We got another caller,
Come
y'all.
on now, y'all. We ain't even said no. Go ahead.
Welcome to the Love Line.
Hey, the love line. Listen, this is Mr. Brown. You ladies are doing a wonderful job. I really appreciate you, and the topic is very broad, and you get down to some points. But at the end of the day, do people validate their relationships through social media? Do people? How does that work? Because what I see out here is that a lot of times people get misunderstood about what the celebrities are doing into what you're doing. Mm-hmm. The second question is, a traditional marriage really traditional? Was it the right way? Or was it jumping the broom? Or was they forced to be married? Or, there's a lot of things that go along with this relationship thing. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to carry this over.
Yeah.
Because we need some men advice about the relationship.
Oh, I would love it. I would love it.
Yeah.
He like
but no, it's just I found this spot that I could listen to the show.
Yeah.
And then y'all brought up some good spots. Angela Robinson, thank you. Ooh, it makes sense. What you're doing and what you're saying, because it works for you.
Yes.
But everybody, it don't work the same way.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to play the game differently.
Yeah.
You can't just go in there and say, hey, I'm going to be like them.
Yes.
I can't live my life like other people.
Right. Again, that goes back to...
You understand what I'm saying? I can't, because that's not how I came up.
Yes.
I came up on the west side of Chicago, stomped down players, hustlers, and pimps, drug dealers, PhDs,
yes,
pimps, hustlers, and drug dealers. And that's how I learned about relationships. It was not until I got older and understood that's not how it works.
Yes. And I think that
you understand?
Yeah. And I think that your how you learned also helped to cultivate what you grew into. So you were exposed to a number of things that position you to, create what you envision for yourself, as far as your code of ethic for yourself, your relationship, your household, and all of those things. So I think that's a good thing.
And see, a lot of times you could be in love with somebody that don't even like you.
Ooh,
that's
you
done
said a whole
topic.
word, because I didn't witnessed it.
You could be in love with somebody that don't even like you.
Wow.
They just playing the game. They're going along with the program.
Well, I wouldn't say in love. I would say you can love someone and not like them, but to be in love, nah. I don't think that's possible.
But what I'm saying,
to be in love with somebody and you don't like them,
that don't make sense. And that person I'm in love with, or I love that person, and that person don't even like me.
Right.
That's possible.
They're just playing the game.
But love and being in love is
two different things.
So
Well,
I do believe you can love someone and not like them. But...
This is the love movement, and I love y'all. Y'all doing a good job. But just think about that. It's a lot of things going on out here in relationships, and we're going to carry this over. Y'all be safe.
All right, take
care.
Enjoy your trip. Don't call us.
Don't call us no more, please. Bye. With that being said, we're almost out of time, so you want to transition into our. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. First and foremost,
Absolutely.
We really appreciate the conversations. We appreciated the additional the calls from the Musty Man and Miss Angela Robinson. We totally appreciate it. She definitely gave a different aspect that we didn't account for, and like CB said, we're going to carry this conversation on. We definitely want more male influence. We want to hear from the guys.
I guess we'll be fair.
But before we go, I think you had a couple of announcements.
Yeah, not a whole lot. But I did see that this Friday, shout out to Chopper. He's going to be hosting Plush Fridays at The View.
Okay.
This Friday from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. And then there is a all-class reunion for Lindop Grammar School.
Okay.
Starting at 4:00 up until, and that's going to be on the 17th, which I don't remember what day of the week that is, but it's going to be held at the Touch of the Past. So again, Lindop all-class reunion, 4 p.m. until 9:17 at the Touch. And that is it. But in the words of CB, aka the Musty Man, treat people the way you want to be treated and never give up.
Peace, y'all. See you next week.
Just got dressed, need something to get into. Pretty girl on deck, she just wanna have fun too.